Am I the a-hole for telling my husband that I'd terminate a pregnancy if my baby had a genetic condition? A couple of weeks ago, I found out I'm pregnant. My husband and I had been talking about starting a family for a while, so this was supposed to be an exciting moment for us. However, during a conversation about prenatal testing, I told him that if we found out the baby had a severe genetic condition, such as Down syndrome, I would choose to terminate the pregnancy. I also shared my belief that it is extremely selfish to knowingly bring a child into the world with serious medical or developmental challenges. To me, it would be unfair to the child, to myself, and to my husband. Raising a child with severe disabilities is an enormous lifelong commitment, one that affects every aspect of a family's life, and I don't believe it is responsible to willingly choose that path when there is an option to prevent it. I also said that either raising a child like that or having an hereditary condition and choose to be pregnant instead of adopting, for example, is extremely selfish as well. My husband was horrified. He said he never realized I felt this way and that he couldn't believe I would even consider terminating a pregnancy just because the child wouldn't be perfect. He accused me of being cold, pro-eugenics, and lacking empathy, saying that every child deserves love regardless of their challenges. He also strongly disagreed with my opinion that people with hereditary conditions should think twice before having children, calling it an extreme and disturbing mindset. Since then, things between us have been tense, and now he says he is seriously considering divorce. He told me that we have completely different values when it comes to family and that he doesn't think he can stay married to someone who sees things this way. I was shocked that he would take it this far, but he says he doesn't want to raise children with someone who believes in selective reproduction. I never expected this conversation to lead to such a massive rift in our marriage. I don't see my stance as cruel, just practical and responsible. I tried to explain that my stance wasn't about perfection, but about quality of life for the child and for us as parents. He said my views made him question who I really am, and now I'm terrified this might be the end of our marriage. I never thought this would be a deal breaker for him, and I'm struggling to understand how we move forward from this. Am I the a-hole for being honest about my beliefs, even though they are making my husband want to leave me?
Here are the top comments.
I felt the same way as your husband when I was pregnant with our kids. Idealistic thinking and all. And then my kids got older, my husband's chronic pain condition began, and then it began in my kids. Had we known he had this debilitating condition just waiting to surface and that it would be passed to our kids, we would have been child-free or adopted. Seeing your kids suffer and knowing that you caused it is hard to deal with.
Not the a-hole. I broke up with someone over this hypothetical conversation. I still am not sure if I overreacted, but parents need to be on the same page for this topic. I hope some kind of marriage counseling ASAP helps you.
Am I the a-hole for telling my fiancé's parents to change their vacation, which is same place as our honeymoon? My fiancé and I have our wedding coming up in April. We had brainstormed for a while on where best to spend our honeymoon. We went over the more popular and well-known places, but then landed on a more offbeat destination that I felt would truly be a great place for us to start our life as a married couple. I've been looking forward to it just being the two of us. I know he has a really hectic work schedule and we were going to make the most out of this. A couple of days ago, he told me that his parents had been impressed by how hyped I was about it and were planning on going there for a vacation too, largely overlapping with our dates. They're staying at the same hotel as us. I was livid. They can go any other time, why now? He said he had suggested that, but his mom said they had taken time off for the wedding too, and it worked well into their plans. Also, since we're going to be going back, it'll allow them to maybe see us a few times before we leave. I was almost in tears. I was so angry. He tried to reassure me, saying they had promised it'll be two separate things, and they won't be inserting themselves in our honeymoon. They want us to enjoy it, and they'd be doing their own thing. I want to believe it, but I know his mom. I like her as a soon-to-be mother-in-law, but she can be very clingy and routinely laments how far he and now us are from them, so I just have a feeling that the plans are not going to be as independent as he thinks they'll be. I vented about it to my parents too. My mom agreed with me that this isn't right. My dad is more on the fence about it. He doesn't think everything is ruined. I've demanded my fiancé make them change their plans. He says he asked them to. They promised to do their own thing. What can he do? Tell them he doesn't believe them and call them liars. I messed up here and said if that's what it takes. He got quiet. I realized that was too much and sincerely apologized for crossing the line. This has been eating me up. I was envisioning a certain type of honeymoon and this happened. A few days later, I brought it up again, hoping he had spoken to them and made some progress. He sighed and told me that he really didn't think there was anything more he could do. His mom had doubled down, saying they wouldn't be interfering, and his dad barely saw the issue. Am I the a-hole for demanding his parents to change their vacation destination?
Here are the top comments, plus Opie's reply.
Not the a-hole. As much as it sucks, the only way to truly secure an in-law of our honeymoon would be to cancel your plans and go somewhere else. Not ideal, but there's nitrogen monoxide way you're not going to accidentally bump into them the whole time they're there.
OP replied.
A few other comments have said this too. I truly appreciate what you're saying and I know I'm overreacting here, but this makes me want to bawl my eyes out.
Is it possible to change the honeymoon to your second choice and surprise your now husband on the way to the airport?
OP replied.
As long as the dates are the same, he'd be good. He had said he was good with wherever made me happy, so he's not too fussed about where it is. There was only one place he particularly wanted to go, which I was on board with too, but we can't go there because of external issues. Am I the a-hole for wanting to leave my husband because he won't get a vasectomy even though another pregnancy could end me? Alright, here goes. I'm feeling really conflicted and would love some outside perspective. My husband and I have 3 kids together, all born via C-section. It's been a lot on my body, and after our 3rd, my doctor advised me against having another pregnancy. The risks are just too high. There's a very real possibility I could if I try to carry a 4th child. The doctor mentioned that I could get my tubes tied, but after doing some research, I found out that it's a much more invasive procedure with longer recovery and greater risks compared to a vasectomy. So, I brought up the idea of my husband getting a vasectomy. It's a much simpler procedure, far less risky, and honestly, we're done having kids anyway. I've already been through 3 C-sections, endured the side effects of birth control, and put my body through the ringer. I've carried our children, gone through labor, and dealt with all the postpartum changes physically and emotionally. But here's the kicker. He flat out refuses. He says he's concerned about the pain even though it's a quick recovery compared to what I've been through, and that he doesn't want to lose his fertility. I've explained that we're not having any more kids, and this isn't about fertility anymore, it's about safety. My safety. I'm genuinely scared of getting pregnant again and leaving my children motherless. I've tried to make him understand that while I've sacrificed my body multiple times, he's not even willing to take this one step for us, for our family, and his refusal makes me feel like he's prioritizing his comfort and fears over my health and our future together. I'm at the point where I'm starting to resent him. I love him, but this whole situation is making me question everything. I can't help but feel like I've given so much, and his refusal feels like a betrayal. I'm seriously considering leaving because I can't live with someone who won't support me in something so crucial, especially when my life is on the line. Am I the a-hole for feeling like this? Would leaving him over this make me unreasonable?
Here are the top comments.
As a doctor, I will say you should have had a ligation at your last C-section. That way it would have been easier and you wouldn't have to go back into surgery. Your husband is a who is not willing to go through a little outpatient surgery. I don't think this will end well. For your own well-being, you should not have intimacy until he has surgery or you get divorced. There is no middle ground. Your children could be orphaned if something goes wrong in a 4th pregnancy.
After 3 C-sections, I wouldn't stay with a guy who's unwilling to have a vasectomy because of his fertility. Who exactly is he intending to impregnate next? I should add, I had 3 kids and my husband ran to the hospital to get a vasectomy. It was a very simple day surgery and he went to work the next day.
You're not the a-hole for feeling this way, but you really should get your tubes tied. You can't force him to do anything, so you need to take birth control into your own hands. If you leave your husband and date again, how are you going to prevent another pregnancy? You can also refuse fun time unless he gets a vasectomy.